Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, just a tad past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And it is a Friday evening. And very often on Fridays, I do some form of AMA or maybe even some kind of Sharpe solution or something like that, but not tonight. Tonight, well, I'll probably do that too. But anyway, not tonight, not immediately at least. That's what I'll say. Not immediately. I will not do it immediately. What I will be talking about, though, is Bobby Kennedy Jr., RFK Jr.'s recent announcement, what it means, what I think is going to happen for 2024, what I think could happen, and a little bit of gloating. I was kind of right yesterday when I said the issues that we were concerned about. It seemed like I was making the most sense, that people kind of got that. And yes, it's kind of what I do, kind of my thing, but that's okay. I'm glad that we're here. Remember, I know you're going to like this show, and you know too. And since you know you're going to, perhaps you should press that item that says like on it right now. That'd be nice if you do that. Please do that. If you're watching on X, you know what you can do, right? You repost this or re-exit or retweet it or whatever it. Do the thing. Yes, redo the thing, whatever that thing is. If you're watching on Twitter, if you want to actually help me out, you can subscribe and also click that YouTube notification button. It does matter. It's very important. But I want to bring up a couple things. So as you may not be paying attention, Bobby Kennedy Jr. made an announcement today around 2:45, 3 o'clock-ish Eastern Standard Time. And some people took it as, well, he dropped out of the race. That's not true. He did not drop out of the race. That's not true. But people did take it as that such because they want it to be true. Some people want it to be true. Some people don't know any better. And some people just want to lie to get him out of the way. And all three of those things are possible. And there are people doing all three of those things. However, it's not true. If he had dropped out of the race, what he would have said is, I've dropped out of the race. He just done it. He just would have dropped out. He did not. He explained how he was battered by the Democratic Party. And again, I know the feeling. I got beat up by Republicans, but he got beat up far worse than I did. But he got beat up by them horribly, explained why, and realized that there's no way for him to find a realistic way to winning 270, which is what he wanted to do. Now, I know people had talked about the contingent election. He brought that up in this because that's like a last-ditch attempt for him. He wanted to win 270 is what he wanted to do. And obviously, he thought he just can't. And what was the reason? Again, the Democrats were stopping him from being in debates. And here's the worst part. He had to be in multiple states day after day because of all the lawsuits they put him in to get in the ballot. So he had to show up in New York, then the next day show up in Pennsylvania, then the next day show up in a different part of New York. I'm not joking. Fly to each. And of course, he's late because one of the planes is late. He doesn't make the plane. And the judge's like, I don't care. You're late. Too bad. So the judges on purpose were like, well, you're late. You don't get to talk. Too bad. Sorry. Goodbye. Didn't care at all. The judges don't care. The system doesn't care. And at one point he realized, all right, that's it. Now, I knew that already, to be forward with you. That happened to me in 2022. I dropped 400 grand in New York State and that was Republicans who crushed me, devastated me, threw me in court all the time, trashed me, had 3 lawyers against my one. I mean, the judges wouldn't let me talk. Some of you were at the events when the judges just made up rules. I'm not making this up. The judges just made up rules so I couldn't talk. Initially, they wouldn't let me speak because I had a lawyer. So you don't get to speak. Let your lawyer speak. I said, okay. So the next time I went, I was pro se with a lawyer next to me representing other people, but I was also pro se. And he went, oh, you're pro se? Well, you didn't do this thing, so you can't speak. They literally would not let me speak. So I understand his pain. But what did he do? He said, all right, I can't get this part. And what I have said from the beginning is that why would I even be behind Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s candidacy? Because it was bigger than him. I've said that the whole time. I've been saying that the whole time, right? It's bigger than him. Why? He's the only guy who I thought could have actually gotten ballot access in all 50 states. And I think that's still true. He probably was the only guy who could have done it. He probably could. And if he would have kept going, he probably could have done it. The only one. No one else could have done it. That's number one. Number two, he could have actually rebuilt a brand new third party. Number three, he actually had a chance of making real impact both here and afterwards in the administration. No one else running could have done any of those things. Just to be very fair, he couldn't have done it. He was the only one. And that's why I was happy about it. So now him doing this, what does he do? He does the best that he can do, which is showing exactly what I said. This is bigger than him. So he said, you know what? I'm going to back out of swing states. And it's probably about 6, 7 swing states, if I get it right. Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Georgia, maybe North Carolina, Pennsylvania, in that area, something like that. I don't know if I got them all right, but in that area, he'll probably drop out of those. But he's still running his campaign. Still running the campaign. Why would he do that? Because now, in those states, he will not be a spoiler. He won't be a spoiler because he won't be there. So now these are the states that everyone cares about. No one seems to care about any other states. Wait a minute. What does that mean then for other states? Well, he can find other states if he wants to, specifically blue and red states. Why would that matter? Why would he bother doing that? Well, now he's not a spoiler, so you can't say he's a spoiler. I mean, they will anyway, because whoever loses will blame Bobby anyway, right? I mean, that's how that works. They always blame somebody else. The Democrats are still blaming Jill Stein for Trump, right? They still blame Jill Stein for Trump. So they're going to blame Bobby Kennedy for whatever happens anyway. So if you're in one of those swing states, he's going to come out. You can vote for who you want to vote, whatever. Do what you need to do. If you're not in a swing state, you can vote for him if you want to. Why? If he gets 5% of the overall vote, it doesn't matter if some states aren't there. I mean, in theory, he could do it all out of California. He's not going to, obviously. That's not going to happen. But whatever. If he gets 5% of the vote, the We the People party becomes a real party. That doesn't mean he's magically on the ballot in all those states. He's not. But now, once everyone knows that they can qualify for 5%, you're going to see money pour in to get ballot access for 2026. So now 2026 means that other people can now run as a third party in 2026. Wow. People just want to be independent. They can run. Wow. It can happen. They'll have money. They won't just be, what we sadly find often is just paper candidates. You will find people actually want to run in 2026 to get ballot access for 2028. So for 2028 now, and this helps him out too, by the way, because in 2028, let's assume let's assume that Trump loses. If Trump loses this election, well, then Bobby can just run in 2028 if he wants to. Up to him, I don't know if he will, but he would be able to because he'd have a party. Would have to go through all this stuff again. All the money he spent now is valuable. He could run again. That could work. Option number one. Let's say Trump wins and he gets into the cabinet and then Trump screws him over somehow and makes him fail or whatever. Again, he can still run in 2028, which means maybe Republicans won't be so happy about him failing. They might leave him to actually do some good, right? They might do that. They might leave him to do some good because they know if they don't, in 2028, he can run again as an independent. So I think that might be one of his motivations in making this happen. So there'll be swing states he'll be out, probably 5 or 6 states that he'll focus on heavily. And those states will be deep blue states. Now, why would he focus on deep blue states, you might ask? Why would he focus on, say, New York, California, Illinois, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Washington? Why would he focus on those states? Well, because those states are deep blue, and Democrats know they're going to win. So what money were they going to spend? None. The Democrats have no money slated for these states. Now they got to fight Bobby in those states. Bobby can push all his money into those states, and Democrats now have to fight. That seems kind of petty. Yes, and so what? They were petty to him. They dropped hundreds of millions of dollars destroying him. They literally trashed his name, broke up parts of his family, trashed him for the rest of whatever's left of his life. That's trashed. Made him do horrible things that he didn't want to freaking do. Now he's got to support somebody he really probably didn't want to support in the beginning. Now he kind of has to. Yeah. He's going to be like, good. You want to drain all my coffers? You want to ruin all my friendships? Good. Now you pay. Now put $10 million into New York you weren't going to put in. Put $20 million into California you weren't going to put in. Put $10 million into Illinois you weren't going to put in. Yeah, you can see that happen now. All of a sudden, he's got to throw a bunch. The Democrats throw a bunch of money into it. You might go, that sounds petty. I felt it too. When the Republicans threw me off the ballot in 2022, I wanted to get him back. I felt horrible. I wanted to get him back. I would, if there would have been a debate, and if Kathy Hochul would have let me in debate, I would have ripped Lee Zeldin to pieces. I would have, because I was so mad that him and his crew threw me off the ballot. If they would have got me in that debate with me, I would have been part. Why? Because I was mad. I know that sounds horrible. I'm just telling you the truth. I would have done it. I would have done it. And I think that he feels the same way. So does Nicole Shanahan. Same thing. They were literally attacked. And if he can do this more, and I agree with this, you can shine a light. To be forward, Republicans do the same thing, but Democrats did it so openly and horribly, and something else. They literally ran a DNC convention on the ideas of honesty and freedom when they were showing literally neither of either of those two things. None. Democratic Party right now is so hypocritical. It's embarrassed. They should be embarrassed by how hypocritical they are now. At least the people on the Republican side who love Trump just go, we love Trump. That's it. Done. That's it. Whatever. Just done. They're more open at least. Okay. Yeah, we love Trump. Whatever. Whatever says, yep. Yes. That's our guy. Okay. I get it. I guess it's something. But yeah, I get the feeling he's just human. So what has happened? Just to recap it real fast. He is not out of the race. He has not stopped his campaign. He has not dropped out. None of those things. He has said, I'm not going to be on the ballot in certain swing states. He's already started. I think Arizona and Pennsylvania has already started. He'll probably do 5, 6, or 8 more of those states, whatever the number is. There's probably some agreement, I'm assuming, with the Trump campaign, which he'll drop out of. He'll drop out of those pieces, and he'll run hard in probably 5 or 6 states with a goal to get a bunt up to 5% so that he can keep going, because he mentioned it. As I mentioned before, this is a $15 to $20 million investment, plus all the time and energy that people jumped on board to give. I remember my 2018 campaign and all the work so many people did in 2018 for me. So much. I felt horrible not doing better. I wanted to do better for them. Not, for me, obviously too, but me was secondary, to be forward with you. So many people busted their ass for me in 2018. So many did. Some did in 2022, but not as much because everything was on ballot access. So the campaign was just a terrible campaign compared to 2020. Compared to 2018, 2022 was a terrible campaign. 2018, a lot of people jumped through hoops for me, and I really want to do better. And I felt bad that I couldn't do better. I'm sure he feels bad about this too. I'm sure he does. So let me grab, if I could, a super chat. Lunatic Libertarian 49. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. There is a population of, I don't know what this is. LG no rant. Oh, got it. Ignorant dunce caps. Got you. Okay. In this country, need celebrity name to pay attention. Ridiculous. Humans should be embarrassed. I'm going to give the Democrats some credit in this one, Lunatic. You are correct. Man, did they put a good show on. All of a sudden, Kamala Harris is the greatest person of all time in the world. Nobody's better. She's got magical powers overnight. That really is impressive. It really is impressive on how they did that. I don't know how, but wow, really impressive. So now they're just great. And did it in 2 weeks. If she was that great, why didn't they do that in 2020? They should have done that in 2020. And she'd have been the president in 2020, right? All of a sudden now she's the greatest thing in the world. I think that was I know what you're saying, and you're right, but the skill set involved, which is great. All the celebrities came out. Oprah came out, said how awesome she is. She's all about joy. They said the prosecutor, the person who puts people in jail for a living, is all about joy. And we bought it. The person who puts people in jail for a living is all about freedom. And they were like, yeah, that makes total sense. I'm in. Yes. So well done is all I can say. That was very good. So in any case, I went a little bit long on that one. But my point being, so he will focus on the blue states, try to get 5%. And it doesn't matter where the 5% comes from, as long as it's 5%. Now we start with the lawsuits. Now we start making things happen. This is a way, I think, of doing two things. One, still getting RFK Jr. to try to have some type of influence. And two, still growing some kind of independent party, which I think, I'm not sure he cared about up front. I don't know if he did, but I know at the end he actually cared about an independent party. Bringing up a third party does matter, because if anyone's tried to run, if you don't have the infrastructure of a third party, if you don't have the infrastructure of ballot access, it's impossible to run. And my hope is people see that. I've spoken about that so much this last year. It's one of the biggest reasons why I've been trying to talk about him, because it's given me the ability to speak about the third party issues, the ballot access issues, the being thrown out of debates issues, all the issues we see constantly. So, yes. Let me grab some of these comments if I could. The Detroit Lion Ryan says, he said he's dropping out of 10 states. It was reported by Detroit News that he will stay on in Michigan. Oh, I thought he'd be stepping out in Michigan. Okay, I think he's leaving. Well, the problem is, and this thing that bothered me, ABC jumped on it right away. A couple others did too. They were like, he's out, he's dropping out, he's dropping out. All I did was watch my live stream yesterday. And you'd have seen that I said he wasn't going to happen. I literally said, no, I don't see that, right? You don't just leave a $20 million asset on the floor. You don't do that, right? And that's ballot access. That's a $20 million asset. You don't do that. And all that time and all that money, all those donors and all those people who, you don't just do that. It's not a thing. So you gotta remember something. When it comes to Democrats, Republicans, they don't care. They just drop out all the time. That's their thing. Oh, support the big guy, drop out. They get rewarded for that. If you're independent, you get scolded for that. You get scolded for that. You got to keep going. You got to do something. You got to provide value. I take a gamble on you. So I think you had to do that. So, yes. Blue Moon Howie, she says, it means nothing, and I'm part of the problem. Am I part of the problem? I don't think I am. Now, obviously, I wouldn't, right? If I was part of the problem, I probably still wouldn't think I am. But I don't think I am. And I think the reverse. Lucy, you ran. And you ran the primary. And you struggled. And you're savvy and you're smart. I know you. And you struggled. But imagine if you had a real third party you could run in. Imagine if you could have run in a real third party where you could have gotten to November, pulled actual votes, had a donor base, people who could have really supported you with cash, was able to get into the press, and people could hear what you had to say. Yeah. You might go, but Larry, you're this crazy libertarian. I kind of am. But still, I'm the guy who said that if Cornel West was the only guy in New York State to vote for, I'd vote for Cornel West. I would. I would rather vote for Cornel West than any of the two. The two are the problem. I'm the guy trying to stop them. I'm the guy trying to actually do stuff. I'm not the virtue signal guy unless I have to, right? If there's nothing left, I'll virtue signal. But if there is something I can do to not virtue signal and make impact, I will. I think I'm not part of the problem, but I guess we disagree. I think if Bobby Kennedy Jr. stays on the ballot in New York State, and if he gets the 2% or 130,000 votes, if he does, there will be a We the People party in New York State, which is not aligned with Greens, Libertarians, whatever. It's its own party. So guess what could happen, Lucy? You could join the board, the executive council, the executive committee on the We the People party and help to move it any way you think appropriate. Could you imagine that? You could. Nothing's stopping you. You could do that. And now, all of a sudden, you'd have some control, some say on an actual independent party. And maybe when you run, you could petition them and say, hey, I'm running. Can you please, throw some cash my way? Get me a couple of spots on a couple of TV shows here, and I can get a little bit of action? Could happen. So, yes. So, Just Me says, I'm anxious to hear what Sharpe had to say, but I'm totally disappointed at him endorsing Trump. He shouldn't trust Trump, all things considered. I agree with you. What I believe happened is that he just realized that there was no chance for success. How can I get the most out of this? By still doing two things, as always. As I mentioned yesterday, still making impact and keeping some type of party available, this independent movement that he cared about so much. I do believe that's what he wanted to do. And I think he believed, whether you and I agree or not, I believe, obviously he agreed. he thought that was the best way. He thought that's the best way of making those things happen. And he mentioned another thing. He said it. He's 70. He's not 50. If he's 50, he got 30 years left. It's fine. Keep going. You're 70? He said it. He said he has maybe 10 years left to make impact. That his words, not mine. His words were, I got about 10 years left. He's got 10 years left, which means make it happen in this administration or one more shot at running. This does both. So I see why he did it, if that makes any sense. I'm with you, though. I would never endorse Trump. I don't want to do it. That's not me. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't go that far. Yes. Raza Dan says, I'm a never voter again. Oh, that sucks. He ruined his own campaign. Maybe he got that offer from BlackRock that he couldn't refuse. I always believed he would win, but as soon as he lost faith in himself. I'm going to cover two parts of that. I do not think he got that offer from BlackRock. I know that's easy for you to think, and many people to think. I think that's true, but I don't think that's what happened. I think it's true, meaning it's easy for you to say. Anyone can just say that, but I don't think it's true at all. It's not like he's starving for money personally, right? The campaign obviously is, but he isn't personally. Nicole isn't. She's wealthy. She's not worried about money. The money doesn't matter to either of them. That isn't the issue. So I don't think it was that. But did he lose faith in himself? You know, my bigger worry, Raza? My bigger worry is that the people around him lost faith in him. That's the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing. I remember, again, I go back when I was running. When I was running in 2022, the number of people who told me to just drop out and quit, it was hurtful. Like, just drop out and quit. But there were a couple who said, no, Larry, you got to do it right and you got to go to the end. You just got to go to the end. And those are the people who are my ride or diers. And I was like, okay, I'm going to the end. And I will take my L like a champ. I'll take it anyway. And I took my loss. But it's heartbreaking when people who you think are your friends, okay, about you telling you, drop out, you can't do it, you can't win, when they say that. It's heartbreaking. And I can imagine he felt the same way. So I do think you're right, though, when it came to losing faith. I don't think there was any type of offer from BlackRock. I can't see that. I can't see that. So, yes. The SD Searcher says, I'm so glad you talked about this. As soon as he announced, I immediately thought of you and hoped you would post a video about it. I learned a lot from you. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, so again, but there's something else that happens. Just be clear. He suspended his campaign. But Larry, people never unsuspend. Yes, they do. It does happen sometimes. And I think it was Marianne Williamson unsuspended hers and then suspended again. That's why he didn't quit his campaign. He suspended his campaign. There's a difference, which means if all of a sudden he starts seeing, oh, wait a minute, we're doing really well in New York, or we're doing very well in Massachusetts, or we're doing very well in Illinois, or wherever, he can re-up it. We're back in. Let's go. Boom, boom, boom. Back off we go. So he did do that. He can do that. And again, 5% is not just in a state. 5% is of all the votes. So some people who love Bobby are going to write him in or going to vote for him in other states, and those votes would all count, right? So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where the votes come from as long as they're American votes. That's all that matters. So we'll be good. So, yeah. All right. All right. Hold on. Jennifer says, if I didn't want you to discuss it, I wouldn't even understand the strategy of RFK Jr. staying on in most states. Thanks, Larry. Of course. Yeah. I'm trying to show you that this is a very tough spot, and I love this. Yes. Dave says, even though I'm voting for Chase Oliver, I'm disappointed in RFK dropping out. I agree. Right? I think a lot of people are voting for other people, but still want to support someone else on the ballot. I think you know that American Values and others actually supported Cornel West getting on the ballot in North Carolina. Why not? Because they all deserve to be on the ballot. If you don't like them, don't vote for them. Right? But they all deserve to be on the ballot. That's the issue. So, yes. Alexa says, I didn't believe that either. I don't know if you're talking to me or not. I think he's just trying to do what he believes is best for the country and is the only way he'll ever get any sort of platform in front of people he wouldn't have. And that's a thing. And some of you will laugh at this, but you're right, which is why he didn't start with, I'm, suspending my campaign in 10 states or whatever. He didn't start that way. If he started that way, they'd be like, okay, great, got it, next. He prepped on how bad the DNC and the media was first, right? He hammered them first. People were watching. He said, oh, you're watching? Good. Take darn. So he did a couple punches first, then said his thing, and then went to all the other issues he was worried about, at which case, when he started talking about how bad Harris was in DNC, they were like, oh, yeah, let's Let's go watch something else. We don't want to watch this. Yes, they cut him after that. But still, a lot of people were watching him online. I know just the AP was doing it live, and some other stations were too. And just in the AP, there were like 30, 40,000 people watching. So he probably got several 100,000 people who were watching even after the mainstream media got rid of him. So that's a good thing. So yes. All right. Let's see here. Just me goes on. I shouldn't have put that word Trump buys up. Looks like I support him when I don't. That's fine. So good. I know you don't. It's okay. Yes, I know. Lucy Libertarian, thank you for the 499 super chat. I appreciate it. Guys, if you want to super chat me, you can. If you're watching on Larry Sharpe YouTube, you're all happy, please do so. Stay the NAP, which is the non-aggression principle, for those who don't know. Take the gloves off. Take it to them. Wisconsin is only a swing state because of Milwaukee, Madison, Appleton, and Green Bay. But that's true for almost any place, lunatic. That's true for any place, right? Every state in America is red. And then the question is, are there enough blue dots of urban area to turn it blue or not? That's what it is. I mean, I live in New York, a deep blue state. But if you go across the state itself is red, but there are just deep blue, big blotches, right? Syracuse is blue, Rochester's blue, Buffalo's blue, Ithaca's blue, Albany is blue, New York City, obviously blue. So the big blue blotches turn it blue, but the rest of the state's red. So I do think that's true for all of them. And I don't think the NAP actually applies here. What do I mean by that? They're throwing us off the ballot. They're attacking us. We are retaliating. So I think you don't have to say the NAP. I think the NAP doesn't apply here. When they're physically taking your rights away, actually pushing off a ballot, you have the right to fight back. And I think he is in the best of his ability. I mean, it seems like there may be more to do fighting. But what else can you do when you do lawsuits, when you scream and yell, when you go on every major podcast possibly, right? You do all those things and you still can't get through. And then the second you get a heavy hitter like a Joe Rogan, as an example, to endorse you, he gets pressured to unendorse you. You can't even get the podcast guys now. I can't get the podcast guys now. I can't get anybody now, right? You can't even get that. It's so polarized, you can't even get that. So I get what you're saying, and I think he's fighting as he thinks best. But there's something else. And I know people don't want to hear this because not everybody is as insane as I am. At one point, you get tired of fighting because it's very hard to fight when you lose and lose and lose. How do you keep morale when it's defeat after defeat after defeat? How do you keep going back to your donors when you keep losing after they keep giving you more money? I know in 2022, I lost literally 8 lawsuits. I was trying to go for the last one, and my donors at one point were like, Larry, I can't keep giving you money. I wasn't mad at them. I loved them for supporting me in the first place. But at one point, I kept losing every freaking lawsuit. And they knew it. The Republicans kept throwing them at me. It wouldn't stop. Appeal after appeal after fight after fight after fight. And they kept doing it. 3 lawyers against 1. 3 against 1. They kept doing it. And at one point, people just don't want to fight anymore. I saw the people stop coming to the events. I saw the people stop showing up. The supporters were giving up. They're like, we just keep, Larry, there's no chance. We can't do this. And then when I was on the ballot, because I was fighting to get in the ballot, even all my friends in social media wouldn't put me on their shows anymore. Oh, Larry, you're not in the ballot. No. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. So I'm with you, but you also have to have a human piece. There are still humans here who need to fight back and have to step up for you and fight with you. And then when you watch them begin to collapse, look, I'm nuts. I just keep fighting. I just keep getting up and I keep fighting. I'm a crazy Marine. I don't stop. I've been fighting this battle now for 8 years. I don't stop. I keep going. But not everybody has that kind of insanity. I don't know. Name the thing you want me to name. I just keep going. Instant Defense, $10. Thank you so much for Super Chat, my friend. I appreciate it. I'm trying my damnedest to keep giving value and making this entertaining and let you guys know that I actually do care. And I do keep fighting. I really do. I'm trying to get this going. So it's the best of our ability. And I do think, right, this is the piece that is hopeful. This is the hopeful piece. If Trump loses, Bobby Kennedy, if he has the party, will be able to run if he wants to in 2028. If he doesn't want to run in 2028, no worries. He can support somebody else because there'll be a party. that will now have, by then, we'll fight for ballot access with lawsuits in 2025, 2026. But by 2028, we'll have 50 state ballot access, and he can either run if he wants to or support somebody else who wants him for president. Either way, there will be a third party that can just run. So there is the hope. I think there is some. So either way. And if Trump wins, then hopefully he'll be able to be in a cabinet and do something that has value and show something that's valuable, I hope. My hope is that Trump will not care about the establishment anymore because it's his last term. He's not running again. I'm assuming he won't. He's not running again, and hopefully he won't care, and he'll just push through and let Bobby do what he has to do. I hope that's true. If it's not true, and if Trump screws him over, which is completely possible, Trump does fire people all the time, change his mind all the time, so that totally could happen. 2028 is still open. So that is my hope. That is my hope. So Juan says, do you think he'll be president in 2028? It's a good question. I don't know. If I had to guess, no. Why? Because most people who run independent and see this happen never run again. Because this is brutal. It destroys your psyche. It destroys you. Again, I'm the idiot who keeps running. I keep doing it. Most people, the vast majority, run and then they're done. This is horrible. People are insulting you every day. It is, you work 24/7. You have to know everything. If you don't, you're stupid. They make terrible memes about you. It is terrible. The cruelty when you run. You know why don't good people run for office? Because you people, meaning American people, are terrible. You're horrible to us when we run. You're mean, nasty. People don't like it. I don't care, so I keep running. But most people, it's terrible. They don't like it. They attack their family and their friends. You know, speaking about that, his own family came up with a statement. Now, I may be out of line here, but I don't care. I'm going to say anyway. Shame on those family members who would do that. You may go, Larry, they don't have to support him. They don't. To be forward, they don't. But why would you publicly shame or attack someone who's in your family? Just say nothing. I'm a libertarian. What if my daughter runs for office and she says, I think the terms are terrible. I want to be a communist. Okay, I'm obviously not a communist. I don't like the ideas of communism. I don't like them. Okay, great. Am I going to attack my daughter in the public? No. Would I vote for her? Probably not. But anyway, I might because I love her. But anyway, my point is, I wouldn't publicly attack her. I would disagree with her. And if someone asked me, hey, what do you think of your daughter who's a communist, you're a libertarian, what do you think about her? I'd say, she's my daughter and I love her. Done. And I'm not going to say anything else publicly. Now, internally, we might have some conversations, but it doesn't matter. His family saying that, shame on them. Shame on them for saying something. Terrible. So, Look to Libertarian says, yes, the brigade, victory or unalived. That's me, my friend, but that's not everybody. That's me, but that's not everybody. We can't expect everyone to be that way, but yes, I just keep going. That's why I'm in the bunker. Look at me. I'm in a bunker right now, prepping for 2026. Got to get back out there again. I'm prepping, of course. So yes. All right, let me grab a couple more of these. I do appreciate all this stuff here. Phil says, democracy is on the ballot in New York State. Not yet. For those of you who don't know, at the moment, people, he's been thrown off the ballot. But there is an ongoing appeal, which I actually feel comfortable about. I think he'll be able to get on the ballot in New York State. We'll know by around August 30th. But at the moment, New York State would be the only state in the union without an independent candidate on the ballot. That is how embarrassing this state is. And we have a governor who also is protecting democracy, saving democracy, to make sure that nobody else can be on the ballot but her. Yeah, that is absolutely terrible. The worst, the absolute worst. So yes. Lunatic says, thank you for that, brother. Thank you so much for the super chats. I really appreciate them. It will not be on the political battlefield. It will be in the streets, starved out until the last round's released. I believe it is too late anyway, blinded by systems of abundance. Well, look, this is actually my worry on why I push this so much. I don't think we're there yet. I see you think we're there already. I don't think we're there yet. That's just my view. Some people think more like you, some people think more like me. I don't think we're there yet. I think we are right on the cusp of it, though. I do believe we're right there. And that's why I want some type of third party. Because what the third party does, believe it or not, the reason why it pushes this back. Why? If we have a third party, people start hoping, right? Most people don't want to go on the battlefield you're talking about. They would rather stay in the political battlefield. Most people feel that way. So having a third party gives them an action. Wait a minute. So I don't have to go where the lunatic says I'm going. I can go this way instead. All right, let me keep trying to go this way. But this is the thing that, all right, you brought this down. The DNC is insanely short-sighted. Why? You might be thinking, why, Larry, don't they see how bad this is? Don't they see what they're doing? Two things. The people at the top, yes, of course. They know Rome is burning. They know the empire is falling. They just want to collect as much as they can, grift while the grifting's good, until the empire collapses. That's what the senior people in this country are doing. Of course, they know that already. Haven't you seen the huge number of people in America right now who are renouncing their citizenship and moving away? A lot of wealthy people are moving away. Yes, they're having double, triple citizenships. They're ready to go. Of course they are. Why do you think Thomas Massey is trying to put that bill to say that Americans can't have dual citizenships? Why is it a thing? That shouldn't be a thing. Why? Because they're all doing it now. They're ready to go. The empire is falling. They know it. They can see it. Right? But what about the average person? The average person is trying to live. Just trying to live. So I can make extra bucks doing this. I can pay my bills if I do this. All right, I'll do this thing, even though this thing is going to hurt us in the long run. And then, of course, when you know something's wrong, but you have no control over it, what do? You fall back to fear. So Republicans go, oh, Democrats are evil. And Democrats go, oh, Republicans are evil. And you get scared and you vote for the other one thinking you're going to save. Because you fall into what's called the at least mindset. Well, at least it's not this. Well, at least it's not that. I don't want that. I want what I want. I want some hope. And if we don't have a third party, more and more people are going to think, wait a minute, there is no hope, no chance. And when lunatic libertarian says, hey, let's go on the streets, they go, yeah, okay, let's do it. I can't get anything else done. Everything else to try has failed. If you don't give people a voice, they will eventually resort to violence. Difference between lunatic and I is, I don't think we're there yet. He thinks we are there. I think we still have time. And I hope I had hoped Bobby Kennedy would be the guy who could break a hole. I wanted anybody to break a hole. So I supported Lars Mapstead in the Libertarian Convention. I thought he could break a hole. And for those of you who didn't vote for Lars Mapstead, if you're watching right now, you libertarians, you didn't vote for him. You didn't vote for him and for me. You didn't do that. Imagine if Bobby Kennedy dropped out and Lars Mapstead was running. A guy who already had a Stop 270 mindset, who's already talking to Bobby Kennedy about joining together and having a Stop 270. And I told you guys this. They were already talking. It was already a conversation to work together to stop 270. It was already there. Donors already there, working for it. If he'd have dropped out now, Lars picks up all those people, all those donors, all those people. And the Libertarian would have had $20 million this year. I'm not even joking. Maybe 25 million. Who knows what they would have had. The PAC would have been supporting him. There's two RFK PACs, both be supporting Lars Mapstead right now. That's be happening right now. If you just voted for him. I was right. And you guys wanted to fight culture war. That's what you get. Listen to me next time, damn it. When I tell you stuff next time, listen to me. I was right. See what could have happened? Lars is the right guy. Anyway, will I ever stop? No. I'm going to be petty about this shit for years. So if it makes you angry, boy, you're just going to have to hear it. I'm going to be petty about this for years. I'm still pissed off that I lost to Bill Weld in 2016. That's 8 years ago. I have to bring that shit up. You think I'm going to let this go? No. I was right in 2016. I was right in 2020. I was right in 2024. So take that. Anyway, I'm going to keep going before I get myself all riled up. I'm going to get myself all riled up now. I'm sorry. Okay. All righty. The Libertarian lady, I said the hatred are coming again towards Chase since RFK's announcement. Oh, really? I didn't see that. I don't think this affects Chase at all. Good or bad. I mean, Chase is going to get what she's going to get. I think the people who want to vote for Bobby will still vote for Bobby, right? That's not going to change. People want to vote for Chase will still vote for Chase. I don't think that's going to change. If it's a swing state, I think a lot of those people will either go Trump, because the people who don't get him in a swing, who don't get RFK in a swing state, most of them blame the DNC, and they should. That's an accurate blame. The DNC is the reason why Bobby's not in swing states right now. The DNC is the reason why Bobby backs Trump. That's the reason. You can blame Bobby, whatever you want. It's all garbage. Do you think Bobby and Nicole did not want to be president, vice president? Stop. It was some plan to do. That was stupid. That, of course, is not true. That's just stuff that Democrats will tell you, or people who are coping will tell you. That's absolutely not true. They wanted to win like anybody else running. Of course they did. That to think he was some deep state plant, insanely dumb. That's absolutely not true. Them tells you that's not true at all. He wanted to win. He couldn't, so he did this. It's that simple. It's Occam's razor. It's literally that simple. So I think most people are either going to not vote. They're going to write Bobby in anyway, because to hell with you. Some people are going to do that. Some aren't going to vote. And then some are going to, vote for Trump because they're mad at the DNC. But I don't think it's going to make Chase any better or worse. I think he's not affected at all by this. That's my view. I mean, he could probably do some good memeing. I'm not saying that as a diss. I'm saying it as smart marketing, right? He could probably do some good memeing. Maybe get some people to see him. Maybe. So I guess it could be helpful in that regard. Maybe. So, yeah. So, all righty. Lunatic is back again. Thank you, my brother. 499 super chat. Appreciate it. I had Lars on my podcast. Would love to have a one-on-one with you. I believe we can collaborate for change. Reach out to me on Twitter. I'll come on your podcast. Happy to, my friend. Reach out on Twitter. I will come. If you're not on Twitter, reach out on, you might not be on Twitter. I will find you then, but I think you're on Twitter. So reach out to Twitter if you can. If not, also Instagram. Either one of those two. Reach out on either one of those two, and I'm happy to, because my team monitors all my social media. So if you do Twitter or Instagram, they monitor that. Facebook hardly ever, because Facebook is filled with so much ungodly spam. We don't even bother looking anymore. It's my Facebook messages I'm talking 80% spam. So I just stopped looking at it. I know it's horrible. Some people are reaching out to me. Do Twitter or do Instagram. We'll make that happen. So thank you for that. All righty. If I can keep going here. Jennifer says, I'm telling my daughter to vote for New Jersey. Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. Yes. Yeah. I think that's probably the right idea. Dave says, explain why reporters are saying he dropped out. Because, to be forward, they don't know any better. I'm not joking. You'd be surprised how many reporters don't know how this works. They've never done it before. You'd be surprised how many political consultants don't know how this works. I'm not joking, Dave. A lot of I talk to the press a lot. You've probably seen I've been quoted in Politico, Wall Street Journal, AP, a lot of places, right? I call a lot of them talk to me. I will often spend 20 minutes to a half an hour on the phone educating a reporter. I'm not joking. I want them to give to the best of their ability, an accurate story. You might go, but Larry, sometimes they quote you badly and say bad things. I know, and I'm okay with that. Why? This is different from independents to Democrats, Republicans. Democrats and Republicans don't like negative stories. I don't care. If they're giving me a negative story, they're still making me valid. They're still giving me a story. What do independent and third parties fight for from anything else? Legitimacy. And being attacked makes you legitimate. The fact that Democrats set aside, I'm not joking with this number, $1 billion to stop Bobby Kennedy Jr. shows you how legitimate he was. They put aside $1 billion to do that. Yeah, he was real. I wish they put $1 billion to me to call me names and call me names on Fox News. I could only hope for that. So the reporters don't know any better. Those who called me know better because I explained this isn't to them. Those who didn't call me don't know any better. They just go, oh, he's going to drop out and join Trump. First off, he can't just join Trump. That's literally against the law. Trump can't say, I will give you a position X if you drop out. That's quid pro quo. He can't do that. I mean, he might anyway, but he can't do that, right? Not just that. He can promise whatever he wants. If the Senate doesn't, appoint him, then he doesn't get it. They don't approve of him. He doesn't get it anyway. So, and the reporter said that too. Yeah, he's just going to swap out for this. You can't do that. I mean, you can, but that's against the law. You're not going to say that out loud. So all of that is true. So they don't know any better. It's ignorance. They haven't gone through this, which again is why I'm so happy that he ran. I said this months ago, and some of you got mad at me. I said, I cannot tell you how happy I am that Bobby Kennedy Jr. is running. Like, but Larry, why? He's not libertarian. Because all of this would happen. I told you this literally months ago. This would happen. We'd be sitting here talking about things like ballot access and third parties and 5% rules and all the things that I've been talking about for 8 years that nobody gave a shit about. Now they do. So thank you for running. I wish you were still running. Well, I wish you were still actively running. I wish you were. I'm glad you're still in a race. Stay in a race as long as you can. Let's keep this going. I'm not done. So I hope that explains why they did it. They just literally didn't know any better. Desia, thank you for the $10. I'm catching the show a little late, so if you've answered this already, I apologize. But do you think that Kennedy should have waited until after Trump's sentencing to make his decision? Love the show. Thank you. No. And the reason why is the timing on this was actually golden, to be forward. The timing was great because if you just watch what happened at the Beyonce concert, I'm sorry, the DNC convention, kind of the same thing. If you just saw what just happened there, they did an amazing job, Desia, of all of a sudden making Harris the greatest prosecutor who ever existed, the prosecutor who puts people in jail and destroy their lives, but she's full of joy, the one who locks people up, but she's about freedom, the one who's the greatest person in the world to fix everything, but she's been in charge for 3 years, fix nothing, right? All those things, right? She is the greatest of all, and it worked magically. If you watched it, I mean, my God, it was done well. I'm giving credit where credit is due. The Democratic establishment did an amazing job last week. Whether you like it or not, whether you're mad at it or not, it was well done. That was a choreographed show that would have made Broadway embarrassed. That was very well done. I'm just being very honest. This sucks some of the air out of the room. So it's good timing. Now, also something else. Does Bobby Kennedy Jr., is he the only one here? No, it's also Trump. So Trump decides to, right? Both teams decide, and they both knew this is the right time. If you remember, right after Trump got shot, like what, a week after, not even about a week after, all of a sudden, Biden's gone, Harris is in. Everybody forgot Trump got shot. Again, brilliant Democrats. Well done. I mean, that's a good job. Everybody forgot he got shot. Why? Because Harris is here now. Forgot he got shot. Okay, well, let's do the... Again, if those of you have been watching the show, I did tell you that right after this, the Republicans would have something. I thought it would be next week. I think it'll be as early as this, but I thought it would be very soon. They'd have something. And they did this. The Republicans did to the Democrats, the Democrats did to Republicans when Trump got shot. This is how they fight each other. And it's all planned, of course. This is how they fight each other. The timing was on purpose, right? You're right. He could have done it a week from now. Could have done next month, whatever, right? But imagine this happens, and then let's say that Trump goes to jail, right? I don't think it's going to happen. I know people are saying that. I don't see that happening. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't see that being happening. I don't see him going to jail. I see them doing something like sentencing with waiting on appeal or something like that. Like, I think sentencing him is what they want because that sounds horrible, right? So they're going to sentence him to 10 years or whatever is them. I don't know how much you sentence in this case. I mean, a lawyer would, tell you more, but sake of argument, they say 10 years is your sentence, but you can stay out until the appeal or whatever. And then they're going to say, see, he's a convicted criminal who's been sentenced to 10 years in prison, right? So that makes him look bad again. It can yell the convicted thing. And so my gut says they will sentence him to a number of years, but he will not go to jail. Either they'll say you can stay out until your appeal is done, or something like that, knowing that they're never going to put him away, right? If Trump actually loses the election and just shuts up, they'll forget it that he even got it, because this is all just because he's running. I mean, we all do know that, right? If he loses and then shuts up, nothing. If they think he might run again, he's going to jail. If they think that he's going to run again, they get rid of him. But if they think he's not going to run and he's just, okay, fine, I've lost, then they're going to forget it. He's not going to jail. It doesn't care. Move on. They don't care, right? Once you're out of the way, this is the thing I keep talking about. Generally speaking, the systems aren't evil. They're apathetic. You're in the way, we have to crush you. You're not in the way, whatever happens, happens. If you get crushed, whatever. If you don't get crushed, whatever. Just don't get in our way. If you're in our way, we got to crush you. So that's my view there. So yes. Lutheran Libertarian says, haven't forgotten my oath against all enemies, foreign. It's not foreign. Yeah, is it or and? Foreign and domestic, right? Or is it or? Now you're making me rethink my oath now. Is it all enemies foreign or domestic, or all enemies foreign? I think it's all enemies foreign and domestic. That's the same oath. Yes, I did. Yeah. You see the Marine Corps thing here? Yeah, I was in Marine Corps too. So it's the same oath as you, brother. All right. Thank you for that. All righty. Alexa asks, Larry, are you still going to vote for him since he's still running? If he's in New York, I will, right? I'm going to vote for who's in the ballot. My New York State doesn't count effectively write-ins. They don't. I know it sounds odd, but they don't. So I'm not going to write anybody, and I tried that game already, right? New York State will only count write-ins if it's a Republican or Democrat who for some reason lost in the primary that the elites still want. That's what happened in Buffalo a couple years back. Then they'll count those. Otherwise, they don't really count them. So if he's on the ballot, I'm going to vote for whatever independent party is on the ballot in my state. Right now, the only one who possibly can be is going to be Bobby Kennedy Jr. No one else will be on my ballot. New York State they don't call us the Empire State for nothing. We are the Empire. Yes, we are. Absolutely. Kat says, I think he's going to get at least 5% in Kentucky and North Carolina. I think if he spends the time and energy in certain states, he can actually pull far more than that in many states. I think he can pull 5-10% easily in certain states. I think he can, right? Particularly if you have enough of the Republicans who are pissed off in blue states, right? In New York State, if you're a Republican, you've had no hope for 20 years. Just being very far. I mean, I'm a libertarian. I've had no hope for longer. But if you're a Republican, you've had no hope for 20 years. So you might say, you know what? I'm going to make my vote count. And your vote would actually count. If you live in a state that is not a swing state and you vote for Trump or for Harris, you've thrown your vote away. You know who's going to win. Everyone knows who's going to win New York State, right? Harris wins New York State. I know my Republican friends will tell me, nah, this year. I get it. Cope all you want. Not going to happen. Another state. I covered every year. I know everybody in it. I've seen all the people in it. I know, no, not winning. So vote for RFK Jr. Be part of the 5%, right? If you're in Oklahoma, Trump's winning Oklahoma. That's going to happen. Harris is not going to all of a sudden pull out Oklahoma. That's not going to happen. I don't care. She's not going to win Oklahoma. Vote for Bobby Kennedy Jr. What are you doing? Why not? So yes. Kathy says, I live in Washington State. There's a court challenge to keep me off the ballot. I know. New York too, my friend. It's everywhere. And that's the point. Now you know. Kathy, if this was 4 years ago, you probably wouldn't even know. What people don't realize is they sue each other off that all the time. A little tidbit. And you can do your homework. You can find this if you can do your homework. Obama, to get his Illinois seat, sued his Democratic opponent off the ballot. Yes. He didn't want to have competition within the Democratic Party. So he sued him off the ballot, and it was his friend. I'm not even joking. Obama sued his friend off the ballot. So he can get, because he didn't want a competition. So use lawfare, get him off the ballot, because got to save democracy. Kathy, see, to save democracy, we have to destroy it. That's how we save it, see? And then my queen will give you just enough democracy that you deserve, just enough. Don't get greedy. I'll give you a little bit. Don't get greedy. And you have some democracy. When I'm mad at you, I'll take it back. That's how that works. That's democracy in order. There we go. Chad says, it pisses me off that people believe they actually care about our right to vote. They do not care. They would prefer we don't vote. I know the hardcore guys like, don't vote. It just encourages them. They're happy to hear that. Please don't vote. That gets in our way. We got grift in the grift, man. Let's stop that voting stuff. Gets in our way. Now we got to care about like the people and stuff. We don't care about you guys. Your rights to vote. You got grifting to do. So yes. All right. Thank you. I really do hope, this is PJ, I really do hope people think the same way. RFK upped his odds for long-term impact. That's what I hope, and that's what has to happen. Guys, if we believe that and we push this forward and we get the 5%, no matter what, will make things better. And let me explain why this matters. If we get the 5%, if Trump loses, Bobby Kennedy still has an opportunity to do something in 2026 and 2028 because it's a party. He can help us get that party so he can still make impact. If Trump wins and he screws over Bobby, that doesn't give him a job, or he doesn't get past the Senate or whatever, if that happens, great, we have a party. He can still make impact in 2026, 2028. If Trump does win and he does give Bobby a job and it does work out well and life is good, then life is good. And now we have other people who support him who can now run and also now defend him. So now he can get some people who are independent from the We the People Party in Congress, in the Senate, all those things. So yes, this is good no matter what. If we push this party down the road, it will help. It will get an independent movement going and to be forward. For those of you who don't like it in the independent party, so you like libertarians, you like Greens instead. Okay. They're screwed too, in case you had noticed. Greens and libertarians do not have the state ballot access, and they're not gonna. There's no future where they're gonna have it again. There's no future. Not New York for sure, but the rest of the country, 50-state ballot access is gone probably for a decade, if not two. This happens, things change. Why? People now start thinking about it. One of the reasons why I hear it all the time, well, libertarians, if you guys would have more, I never see you guys running anybody, because it's physically impossible. Once it's not physically impossible, maybe you can run somebody. That's the reason. And again, if you happen to be if you happen to live in a state where access to the ballot is easier, you might not understand this. Live in a state like mine. The way it is right now, I will never be able to vote for Libertarian in my state ever again. That's how it is now. So I would like it to not be the case. Hope that makes sense. So anyway, all right. I want to grab some more of these comments. There's so many of them. I'm way behind, guys. I apologize. If you want to get your comment to the front, of course, you can always super chat if you want to. Please click the like button no matter what. It does matter. If you want to hook me up, you can always subscribe to my YouTube page, Larry Sharpe YouTube page. Click that notification bell when I go live. I go live often. You see me do it, and I try my best to be interactive and talk to people. So please do that. If you want to super chat me, you can. If you're on Larry Sharpe YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, no worries. Retweet this if you're on Twitter. Repost this. If you're on Facebook, click the like button. Also, please follow me. It does matter. If you really love me and you want me to do more of this, you can always become a member. Click join. It's $5 per month. You can see my handsome mug. Talk about cool things. And if you're a member, I take your comments faster. So look at that. You get to be cool on the comments. Not too shabby. Not too shabby, right? I like that. There we go. There we go. So Lynn says, where is the Larry Sharpe super chat? It's on Larry Sharpe YouTube. YouTube, Larry Sharpe. You can super chat me there. So absolutely. There we go. All right. Jennifer says, I would have no clue what's going on if I didn't listen to you talking about this scenario. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Phil says, Larry, would you be open to putting a campaign in the box to get people the resources for independent candidates? Yes, yes, and yes. That is one of the things we've been considering, believe it or not, at American Values PAC. We're considering it there. Yes, we of course want to do that. Yes, it is a great idea. Yes. Justin, Larry needs to endorse Trump. Never going to happen, my friend. I'm not voting the two parties no matter what. I'm not doing it. Nope, never going to happen. I would, if it comes down to it, I will virtue signal vote. I've done it before. I'm not against virtue signal voting. I've done it myself too. The point is, if I have an option to make impact, I would rather make impact. But if I can't, I voted for Jo Jorgensen in 2020. I knew she wasn't going to win. I knew she wasn't going to make the 100. We need 130,000 or 2% in New York City. She wasn't going to make that. I knew she wasn't. I voted for her anyway. And I took the picture of the ballot and put it on social media. Yes, I voted for Jo Jorgensen. It was a virtue signal vote. Why? There was nothing else for me to do. What could I do? Any other vote was nothing. So virtue signal. I get it. I'm not against virtue signal voting. I'm not. But if you can make impact, why wouldn't you? And voting for Trump or Harris? There's no impact in that. Everybody's doing that. So there's no impact in doing that. So I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna do it. I don't know. Maybe if I can't get anybody else, I'll write somebody in or something. I don't know. Because then now, if I can't get Bobby Kennedy to make impact with the 5%, then I guess I'll virtue signal vote. But I'm not endorsing Trump or Harris, neither of the two. Never going to happen. Not at all. So anyway. All righty. Let's see if I can do that. Libertarian Lady says, I listened to a Republican show for 3 hours today and said to myself, I sure hope Larry is going live so I can counter the past 3 hours. There we go. Yes. There we go. I like that. Yes. Philadelphia Shmira Yeshiva says, I heard some Kennedy volunteers were told by the campaign they were staying in, and then this happened. They seemed quite upset. But they are staying in. They are staying in. That's an accurate statement. They're just out in certain states. But yes, they are staying in. They've simply stopped and they've suspended. Why do you suspend? To reboot, reorg, and then start up again. They can start up again. That's why he didn't say I'm ending. His words are very specific. I am suspending while I drop out in certain states, reorg, and think what the next step is. Because now you got to reorg your entire system, right? Are you only going to focus on certain states? Where do you move your volunteers? All those things. Yes. So there we go. All righty. Nancy says, Michigan said it's too late for RFK to remove his name from the ballot. Yes, there are certain states where you, particularly those, for those who don't know, a lot of states print their ballots very early. They do it for several reasons. Number one, many of them have mail-in balloting. And if you have early voting with mail-in balloting, now all of a sudden it's even earlier. And also, you've got to get your ballots to the military post offices so you can get your overseas, you can get your overseas soldiers and Marines to vote. So even though the election day is November 4th, they may print ballots as early as like September 15th. So they will have deadlines and say, look, you can get your guy off, but this is the reason. And this is the date. So Nancy, for certain states, you're right. Certain states, he's on no matter what. It's just done. And certain things, it's not. So yes. Yeshiva says, it seems like it was a money decision. I think that's part of it. I do. I think that's part of it. And why? Because here's the part that people don't get. A lot of people don't understand. He had to drop between $15 and $20 million to get on the ballot. And I go, Larry, so what? It's across the country. It's national. Okay. Do Democrats have to do that? No. Do Republicans have to do that? No. Only independent candidates have to do that. How's that fair? If you're going to tell me, well, they all do it. Okay, at least that's fair. If now Trump and Harris have to go in all 50 states, get 1 million signatures, spend $15 million, fight lawsuits, don't get sued off the ballot because they made a mistake. If they don't do that, they have to do that. They'll just automatically get on. Okay, but no. None of them are getting sued off the ballot. None of them have to worry about that problem. None of them have to follow crazy election laws. Only independents do. People don't know that. They think, well, that's how it works. No. Only independents have to do this. So if you are a Democrat or Republican, you're just on. Period. That's how it works. If you're independent, you must jump through these hoops. Now, who would have more resources? Oh, wait, the two big parties. So who has to spend the $15 million? Oh, they do. So if you can raise $15 million to get on a ballot, that's not one Facebook ad. That's not one sign. That's not one bumper sticker. That's not one button. That's not travel. That's just to get on a ballot. Yes, money's always part of the decision because if you don't have money, you cannot win. You just can't. And I know people hate it. No, it's about ideas. It's about messaging. No, it's not. I wish it was. It's not. You have the best messaging in the world. If nobody hears it, who cares? There is no doubt, no matter who you are, when it comes to debating issues, Bobby Kennedy's way better than both Trump and Harris. No doubt. And doesn't matter because they won't let him on the debate stage. Why? Money. Yes. So you are correct. That is part of it. Yes. Roy says Trump is not libertarian. Agreed. I never said he was. Agreed. Never said he was. To be fair, many people have some libertarian ideas and values. That's true. Many have some, but he is not libertarian. I completely agree. Yes. All right. Rare Medium says Bobby is urging the states where he dropped out to not count his write-in votes. Yeah, that's probably part of the deal he made. That's what I would assume. I would assume that's true. Yeah. Justin says Kennedy was honest with himself and still stayed on track for what he believes in. This is the part that I like or like, but also hurt sometimes. He's honest. And sometimes I wish he wasn't so honest. But he is. At least he's there. Yes. Rick Reynolds, who is a member. Thank you, Rick, for being a member. Then there's the Forward Party. I think the Forward Party dropped the ball here. I think they should have backed Bobby Kennedy off the bat. I think he was a forward candidate made for it. They didn't do it, though. They didn't do it. And then they should have. I think you're right. Forward Party does not have much ballot access. They would have had tons of it now. Forward Party doesn't have that many candidates. They would have tons of them now. I think Forward dropped the ball here. I think it was a mistake. But you know what? I don't run forward. They do whatever. Right? That's how it works. All right. Alex says, Larry, if you still allowed him, would you still vote for him after this happened? Yeah. But look, the point is, I still want a third party. That hasn't changed. In the reality of it, none of that's changed. A third party is still available now. Look, you can act like CNN and Fox and whatever says he dropped out. It's over. Of course they're going to say that because they want people to check out and not vote for him. It's clear that the mainstream does not want him to upset the apple cart. Of course, it's obvious, right? I get that. But the problem is we have to realize that he still is here and we should still vote for him. We can still get that. Absolutely. Yes. Lynn goes on to say, thank you for the $5. I appreciate that. Pundits on X and YouTube saying dropped out endorsing Trump. Yes, I know. And it's not true. That's why I'm telling you. And that's not true. He has suspended, not dropped. He didn't endorse Trump. That's true. But he's suspended, not dropped. And if you remember, he spoke about two other things. He said we can still get 5%. And he said there is still a chance at a contingent election. Recognize that chance is low now, right? The chance is low. But why would he care about that? Okay, be very clear. He suspended, not ended, his campaign. What does that mean? You now reboot. You now rethink. You now retool. And we see where is his best chance of making any impact. We try to get our 5%. And if there is a chance that all of a sudden he thinks he can actually win a state, he goes back and goes after that state, right? Let's say if I'm making this up for sake of argument, just because I'm in New York, he thinks he can win New York State. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but sake of argument, it's a month from now, the polling has gone crazy, and he's at 33%. Again, pulling this totally out of thin air. There's a bunch of money into it. Remember, in the three-way race, 35 to 36% probably wins that state. So he could still go, oh, I can win here. Boom, and he gets a state. He gets a state, purple piece on that map. That's not a bad deal, Lynn. So if he gets to do that, how's him dropping out? That's not a dropout. That's not. So they don't know any better. But what are you going to do? It is what it is. So yes. Let's see here. Andrew says, Ross Perot did the same thing in 1992. Agreed. He did. It did not work well for him, though. It did not. It's not going well here. Yes. So yes. KP says, non-swing state voter here. I'm going to vote for RFK anyway, so we can get the We the People Party nationally recognized, and we can pave the path for more independent candidates in the future. Yay. KP, that's what I want you to say. Yes. Please say that more. Yes. Please tell all your friends that. 100%. Carly said, this is why people stay home and don't vote. The lesser of two evils crap is getting so old. Carly, you are so right. And it breaks my heart when I see people just give up, particularly when I need them. If you've ever heard me say this, I go, I want you to go out and I want you to vote. People go, you mean vote for your guy? No, I want you to vote. Obviously, I would prefer you vote for my guy, whoever I'm voting at that time. Of course, I want that. But if you don't vote, then I can't get you to take action. I need you to vote so I can convince you to vote for my guy, right? So I do want people voting. That's the piece I'm talking about. And I want people to vote. And you're right. People start giving up. People check out and go, why bother? But again, this is why I'm talking about this. If you understand the system, we can now use the system and get around the system and make this work. Most people, for most of you watching, if it wasn't for Bobby Kennedy running, you would have no idea how ballot access works, how the 5% works, how corrupted parties work, how if you don't have money, you can't get into polls. Some of you didn't know this. People say, why aren't you in a poll? Well, because you have to buy the poll. Remember the polls that Bobby Kennedy came out with? He had to buy them. That cost him $200,000. I'm not joking. A regular poll costs around 40 to 50 grand. I found that out the hard way in 2018. In 2018, I'm running for office. I'm on the ballot. Everything is great. And I can't get any polls. So we literally just call the poll company up. Okay, why am I not in your poll? They were very forward. Oh, you don't buy the poll. I said, what? I said, yeah, you got to buy the poll. I got to buy the poll. Yeah, buy the poll, you're in the poll. I just buy the poll and I'm in the poll? Yeah. Done. Buy the poll. You're in the poll. That's it. That's how it works. Pay to play directly. That is how it works. People go, but they put these polls out. You think they're nonprofits? They put it out because they love you so much? No. Some PAC or some group of people or some donor pays for the poll. They pay for the poll. Done. They get their name in the poll. And they also decide who's in the poll. So they pay for the poll and say, here's my 40 grand. Don't put Kenny in the poll. Polling company goes, thank you so much. No Kenny in the poll. I'm not joking. That's literally how it works. And most of you had never heard that before. You thought it was like fair or something, or they had some criteria. So yeah, criteria. Check. Did your check clear? That's your criteria. Did your check clear, or is enough money in your debit card? That's the criteria. That's it. Why you not being covered in the on TV? You don't have enough ad revenue. The other people who have ad revenue don't like you. So they're more important than you. You don't get on. Sorry. Yes, it's that simple. If you were to buy a bunch of ads on a bunch of stations, you'd be covered because you would now be important to them because you'd be basically their donor. Yeah. Money. And people don't know this. So they think nothing works and they quit. But if you know this, now you can act. And that's my issue. If you know this, you can act. That's what I mean by that. So yes. All right. Kristen says, regardless of what happens in November, I think he's played a huge part in shifting a paradigm. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Mark says, do you think Bobby has intentions of furthering a new party if he gets the 5%? Yes and no. I think yes, if he believes that either Trump is not going to do what he said or things aren't going to go well, then he has a vested interest in personally doing it. Now, would he be against it? No. Would he try to help? Sure. But would he actively try furthering it? If Trump wins and he's in the administration, if that does happen, he's going to focus on that. The new party will be secondary. But it's fine. Nicole Shanahan can help us out. Other people can help us out. I can help us out. We can help out to build the new party out. 100% easy can be done. 100%. No worries. Can be done. Can be done. If Trump loses or Trump screws him over, he's going to be 100% involved. So I think that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. The Libertarian lady says, in Florida, there are 5 to 6 blue blotches, and unfortunately, I live in one. I know how you feel. I live in the biggest blue splotch in the entire country. Yes, I live in the biggest one. 100%. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Twister says, Lauren Lee has the best summation of the nuance of this unity strategy. It's not a simple trade scenario, which most of the media reported it as it is. Correct. The media doesn't get it. Lauren does. Check out Lauren Lee. She is on Twitter. If you want to check her out, Lauren Lee does. She has a whole system. She put it all out. Yes, that's correct. Well done. Thank you, Twister. That's right. Yes. So, Dave spins it very well. We need to make sacrifices to save democracy. That's right. So, off of Twitch, L. King Lair says, how do you explain this sharp blue-red delineation? I'm not sure it's sharp, but I think it is clear in that, generally speaking, the more urban you are, the more blue you are. General rule. One of the reasons why. When you are in urban areas, you live on top of each other. New York City is a perfect example. You live on top of each other. Not just that. We live on top of each other, and the social rules are very different from cultures. You have people who move into a city who live there 3 weeks, and those who've lived there for 30 years, and every mix and match. Different religion, different background, different language, different cultural background. So the rules of how to interact aren't clear. So we scream for a referee. Who's going to be our referee? Well, what's a referee? Government and law. So we scream for government, we scream for law, we scream for fairness, right? Not just that, we see in our cities the massively rich and the massively poor. Things seem unfair. We want equity, right? It's natural. If you see these things, you grew up in these things. If you go up to a small town, most of the people are in a similar world as you, right? Some may be more wealthy or less wealthy or in trouble, but it's similar. You have similar concepts, like similar things, same schools. You don't cry for a referee and you don't see the massive wealth gap, so you're not crying for equity. But I think when you're in the cities, you tend to do that, which makes more people more left. It is human nature. That's my explanation of blue-red. Now, why did the country become more blue? Because of urbanization. More and more people have been moving into cities for, 100 years more? As more people move into cities, because that's where the only opportunities were. And it was a big issue after the 2000 crash. After the 2000 crash, everyone was urbanizing. After 2008 crash, there was no real recovery except in cities. So everybody rushed to cities. Now, with the lockdowns, that's changed. So the lockdowns have been people going outside of cities, going back to rural areas and suburban areas, making some of those people unhappy with all the city folk coming out there. However, what should happen is there should be a shift towards more red. That should happen. As people live out in these areas, that should happen. So you would think the opposite would happen. So we'll see. I hope that answers your question at least. So, all righty. If I can walk down this road. Jamie says, it's expensive to fight. Sadly, yes. El King Lara says, what office did you run for? I ran for governor twice. I did not win, by the way. Did not win. RMB says, Bobby had 1.6 million watching on X. Wow, that is amazing. See, that's the point. Yes, that's the point. right? It's important that people see that. Yes. Chelsea says, wouldn't infiltration of the opposite party be the perfect countermove to prevent the Kamala presidency, which is an infiltration of Democratic Party, given both Trump and Kennedy were former Democrats? Call me naive. Wouldn't infiltration of the opposite party be the perfect countermove to prevent Kamala presidency, which is an infiltration of the Democratic Party, given both Trump and Kennedy were former Democrats? Not sure I'm following your logic there, Chelsea. Can you be clearer? You're saying that I'm not getting it. Maybe my head's someplace else. I'm not sure. Help me out with that, if you don't mind. All right. Dave says, Larry, Democrats, Republicans, and their PACs and super PACs have access to over $1 billion each. Yes. Yes. But the issue is, to be forward, to win an election, you don't have to outspend. You just have to have enough to play. If that makes any sense, right? It's good if you can outspend. That's not a bad thing, but not required. The person who spends the most money does not always win, but you have to have enough to play, right? So if you're a presidential candidate and you can't raise at least $10 million, you're not even playing. Doesn't mean you'll win on that, but now you're playing. Now you have a chance to win. Now you have a chance to win because you raised 10 million. That chance is still low at 10 million, but now there's a chance. You have enough to play. The question is now what happens after that, because once you cross 10 million, now other people think you're real. So now they start giving, right? That's the number. We go, oh, wait a minute. Yeah. And then, okay, now before you have 100 million, now you got a real shot at winning. So that's how that works. You don't need to have $1 billion, but you got to have at least 10 million. Oh, you can't even play, but you're not even in the game. That's like the antes to get in the game. So yes. And how do I know that? Because the best we've done as libertarians was Gary Johnson. He raised 13 million, 3%, almost got 5%. Campaign kind of collapsed at the end, couldn't get in debates, but we had a chance. That was when we were playing then, at least. We were kind of there, right? Again, there was a chance to get 5%. And Bobby Kennedy Jr. has raised far more than that. And you got the PAC, he's raised tens of millions. So he's playing. Now, that's why he's this guy. He's a player now. He had a chance to win because he raised enough money to be in the game. For presidential candidacy, if you cannot raise $10 million, you're not even in the game. You're fooling yourself. Again, not saying you're going to win at 10 million, but at least then people are going to, okay, maybe he's somebody. Now you get 20, 30 million, like Bobby got. You get that kind. Now, okay, now you're really playing in the game now. 100 million, now you're a player. But you just got to raise the money. That's the issue. So I hope that makes sense at least. It is a challenging thing to do. So yes. Mr. Matt's Arcade says, thanks, Larry, for your perspective. I was really hoping you would do a video about RFK Jr. suspending his campaign. Yes, again, it's suspension, not ending, and he can bring it back. And if things change and shift, he can, right? If Trump all of a sudden screws him and goes, I was kidding. Nope. He can come back on if he wants to, right? And again, if we're pushing for the 5%, that's the goal. If we focus on certain states, we got a shot at contingent elections still if we have to. It can still be there if we need to, right? Channing says, RFK's 4D chess only works if his supporters stick to the strategy. Yes, it's true. And I think he also has to be able to get them to stay motivated, right? Solid color states vote for RFK, battleground states for whomever. It's brilliant if we stay strong. Yes, yes, and yes. You are correct, my friend. Thank you so much. Yes. Rosa says, thank you, Lara. I really need to hear everything you're saying. I'm so upset. No need to be upset, guys. Look, do I wish he was staying in and fighting to the end? Of course. I've said so more than once. But I'm glad that he did not just stop and quit and drop. That would have been the worst, the absolute worst, 100%. So Roger Meadows, $2. Thank you, sir. Listening to how DNC big ups can prosecute. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. The way they just made her, she's all of a sudden, oh, you know what she did all of a sudden, Roger? She didn't put black men in jail. She didn't do that. She didn't at all. She did not in any way, shape, or form keep black people literally in enslaved conditions for money in California. That's not what happened. What happened was she only went after the bad guys and she was letting the good guys out left and right. That's what she was doing. She's all about hope and joy. That's her. She's friendly and amazing and she's the best person ever. That's what they told me last week. So obviously you didn't watch the same thing I watched because she's perfect. Yes. Roger says, I virtue signal voted Sayre. Yes. I like Diane Sayre. And people get mad at me for it because she's LaRouche and people don't like LaRouche. I get it. People don't like LaRouche. Fine. I think Diane Sayre is a great person. She's one of the most anti-war people I've ever met. Hardcore, does not back down. She runs for Senate. She's getting my vote. 100%. I'm voting Diane Sayre. I'll tell you that. I'll put that out there. Let people know. Get you mad, you get mad. In New York State for Senate, there is not a better candidate than Diane Sayre. She's an actual anti-war candidate, a real Senate candidate who was anti-war. If you're in New York State and you want to vote for senator, Diane Sayre's the person. If people get mad at me for supporting a LaRoucheite, then get mad at me. I don't care. Roger, you're right. You should vote for her. 100%. I agree. Roger Shields, thank you again. You keep reinforcing why I say abolish all political parties. Yes, I'm not. Yes. But look, Roger, we can't get a third party because they want to make sure they control themselves. So somehow we're going to get them to vote to abolish themselves? Start having more parties and the two parties won't matter as much and things are going to change. In my perfect world, we have 330 million political parties. Now we're good. So yes. Again, my point, Roger, about virtue signaling. Yeah, and look, unless something crazy happens, we know a Democrat wins the senatorial race here in New York State. So why not vote Diane Sayre? I agree completely. I'm with you. I know her personally. I was at her booth in, was it last year? Yeah, last year when we did the New York State Fair. I was at her booth. Yeah, I'm with you. So, yes. All righty. Roy says, so many Kennedy platforms are anti-Trump, not letting government interfere with women's bodies, performability, environmental protection, tax fairness, etc. I agree. And I think Kennedy actually mentioned that. He said there's a lot of things to disagree upon. He was like, well, what do I do? Right? Do I just, look, I think you should always keep running. That's my view. Right? But again, the stuff he went through, maybe his team's collapsing on him. Maybe they don't want to be around. Maybe they're quitting. I don't know. I don't have any insight. Maybe, who knows? It is what it is. I agree with you. There's a lot of things we disagree with, which is why I'm not endorsing Trump. I'm not going to, Roy. I can't do that. No way. So DG Daniels says, Mark Cuban says he's been looking for a way to use antitrust laws to go after and take down the parties. They've tried that before. Yes. In fact, that was actually the lawsuit that Gary Johnson used. That was what he used, that one when Gary Johnson sued them for the Gary Johnson used that mindset when he sued them in 2016 to get in the debate stage. Yes. It's a way to take down the party control of electoral system. It didn't work. It didn't work. That has to go to Supreme Court. So this is the reason why I wanted Bobby to keep suing, because Bobby Kennedy had both the money and the name and the experience, himself suing to go to the Supreme Court. So yeah, I really wanted that. So Matthew Corden for the NC House says, preach. I think ordinary people tend to be too mean to third-party candidates running. Some people make fun of Chase every chance they get to try to get him to quit. Agreed. Yes. People get mad because I'm not pumping Chase, but I'm not saying anything bad about him. I know him. I like him. He's a good guy. In fact, policy-wise, the closest one to me, not even close, of course. Closest one, policy-wise. By far, the closest policy-wise. I can't vote for him in my state. I have no ballot access. I care about ballot access. For me to virtue signal voting for Chase in my situation is just a virtue signal. I can make no impact. That's all it is. For me getting Bobby Kennedy to have a party in my state, I get a party in my state. Libertarian Party's dead in my state. Doesn't exist. I don't talk bad about Chase. I'm going to vote for him, vote for him. Up to you. Up to you. Rand says, the Sharpe prepper. That's me. I'm prepping. I am. Absolutely. Yes. So, all righty. Becky goes, hold on. She says, Chase is so nice. That's true. That's accurate. I agree. I completely agree. Yes. All righty. Nathan says, Larry, if you run for governor again, I will stand at the front line with you. Thank you, my friend. I am considering doing it in 2026. I'm considering it. Yes, I am considering it. Rose says, his family's highly traumatized. Yes. One of the hardest parts that, on a personal note, that really bothered me is when my people who were my friends who had met and knew my family turned on me in 2022 and would say horrible shit about me online, knowing my family was reading it. And they had met my family, just didn't care. So cruel. Now, again, they said about me, what are you going to do? Right? I mean, I don't like it. Of course, someone likes being insulted. But I signed up for it, right? So, like, I was supposed to take it. I signed up for it. My family didn't sign up for it. And you know my family. And they know you. You could have just said nothing. You don't like me anymore. You know what? Don't watch my stuff. But no, they would say horrible, nasty things about me, knowing my family's watching. And they would be upset. Of course. Look, if you run for office, you kind of expect it. But your family doesn't like it. Right? I think the people who actually love Kennedy and his family see the things they said about him. They must drive them crazy. They must hate it. They must absolutely hate it. So, yeah. All right. James says, it's very sad that RFK has become the next Mark Victor. Mark Victor, yeah. He had a chance to get 2% of the vote to retain ballot access for his We People Party in North Carolina. I agree. And it could still happen, but it's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging. But we'll see. I hope that we can get it done. I hope we can. So, all right. I want to try to grab a couple of these down here if I can. All right. Bobby's appearing on stage with Trump live now. Oh, is he? Is that right? There we go. I missed it probably. It's like probably half hour ago, probably over already. I'm so behind. You guys have so many that I try to get as many as I can. So I make all of the super chats to the top whenever I possibly can. Roger says $5. Thank you, sir. Last time was a virtues in a vote. I hate Chuck. Yep. Yelled at him in the Zoom. Now you got to earn my vote. And Sarah didn't. She's void of domestic policy. It's true. She is void of domestic policy in many ways. She's very much about foreign policy, but I still think she's the best choice. I still do. Right. And she does have domestic policy. She does. Energy policy is energy policy, where she pushes the idea of nuclear power. She pushes the idea. So she does have some. But again, compared to Schumer, way better compared to Schumer, Roger, like way better. But yeah. So in any case. All righty. I'll grab a couple more of these if I can. Nancy says, a journalist from Newsweek just got fired in an interview with Shanahan. He talked about how dirty the news industry has gotten. Yeah. Yeah. He's going to wind up having to be on some like podcast or something now. So yes. Ryan goes, all enemies foreign and I thought it was and. See, I was right. I remember my oath. See, Ryan, I remember my oath. It's all enemies foreign and domestic, not or. I remember my oath still. I took it. I took it more than once. I re-enlisted. So I took my oath more than once. I remember my oath very well. Yes. There we go. He says, Bobby is speaking and they love him. Great exposure. Well, there we go. So Bobby's doing well. All right, good. I'm happy about that. I probably should have watched it. Now I got to go watch it now. Yes, I got to go watch it now. Yes. All right. Bobby Jr. just said, make America healthy again. Very nice. Make America. That is a good one. Make America healthy. I do enjoy that. That's good. So yes. All right. I so agree. Forward should have endorsed RFK Jr. 100%. I think it was a better chance. Much better if Forward had gone that way. Right. I think Forward should have gone that way. But, people do what they think is appropriate. They thought that was the issue. So, all righty. Let's see here. Jason says, I think the chance is higher now thanks to real national exposure. I would agree with that part. I mean, he's still growing, and I hope that we can keep this going. I hope we can. I hope we can keep this going. I do think that 5% is possible still. I would like us to push that, right? Lunatic says, foreign or domestic was meant to be established that we have front lines of both. Oh, okay. All right. I thought you were saying that was the actual oath. Okay, that's what you meant. Okay, that makes sense. I'm with you now. Yes. Yes, I do get that. All righty. Let's see here. Mike Voss says, we need more voices, not fewer, as we can see from how so many are displeased with the current admins without outside voice or competition. Yeah, the administrations are unhappy. I agree with you completely, right? I think we do want more voices because it makes us feel better, if nothing else. And that sounds dumb, but if people feel like they're being heard, they don't want to move to violence, right? That's the issue. Yes. All right. Sarah says, when Bobby walked out the Trump rally, I've never seen such a crowd respond like that. Incredible. There we go. All right. Look, maybe Bobby's killing it. I'm happy. I was sitting there talking to you. I probably should have been doing that instead. There we go. Yeah. Noah Clark says, what is your prediction on RFK getting the contingent vote? I don't know. That's a tough one, right? If he breaks, this is why the campaign is suspended. If he does break the 5% and we start seeing him doing well in certain states, he can always reboot his campaign and push for that, right? You'll see in the next 30 days, to be very forward with you. In 30 days, you'll see. Is he killing it in certain states? Is he all of a sudden polling at 25% in this state, at 25% in that state? If that's happening, remember, he only needs 35% to win a state. It's a three-way race. You don't require 51%. If he's doing that, then he could change and shift money into that, raise money for a specific state. I think you could do that. Yes. Grace says, the attacks against you must have felt personal. Kennedy, sadly, has a legacy of people dumping on his family. Of course it felt personal, Grace. It felt terrible. I don't like it, right? Why do you think so many people run and then never run again? Because it's brutal. It's brutal. And here's the other thing people don't realize. When you run for office, as I have done, sadly more than once, every mistake that you make is now public and forever. Let me say it again. Every mistake that you make is public and forever. And people will never live it down. Never. People will mess with me for stuff I said and did in my campaign forever and don't care. They will cruelly do it on purpose and hurt and try, which is why you see me sometimes when people come at me, I sting them so hard because they sting me, so I sting them back. And sometimes I'm cruel when I sting back. I sometimes do because of the cruelty I've received. What's the old saying? Hurt people hurt people. So yes, sometimes you sometimes see politicians just lay into somebody. Why? Because you get insulted. So I'm not saying it's right. Please, I'm not saying this is the right thing to do. I'm saying it's human. So that's why someone runs and says, never again. Never again. I'm not doing that again. I got crushed. I want to forget all that horribleness. And again, in 2018, while I had a lot of horribleness, at the end of 2018, I was 6 figures in debt. I was heavily in debt, but I had achieved something. I had ballot access for my party. We were winning things. I mean, we were doing something. At the end of 2022, I had nothing but regret. I was 40 grand in debt, and I lost everything, lost people's money, lost friends. It was terrible. I wish I hadn't done it. And yet here I am again. Here I am again, Grace. What am I doing? I'm ready to try it again in 2026. I'm ready to try again. I just believe in my heart. And some people think I'm crazy, and I don't care if you do. Lunatic Libertarian knows what I'm talking about. This country is on its way to violence. He thinks we're already there. I think not yet, but we both know we're on that road. And my answer is, if we can get a third party up and running, if we can get people to change how they think and give them a voice, we avoid that. That is my entire goal. And I focus on that constantly. That's what I do. And sometimes it can only be you. There's nobody else. In this case, Bobby Kennedy was the only guy who could have done this. And he stepped up and they beat the hell out of him. In 2022, in New York State, I was the only guy who could run as libertarian. There was no one else who could have done it in 22 in New York State. So I did. And boy, did I get my ass kicked. Well, let's see how 2026 works. So, instant defense. Thank you for $20, my friend. Every one of those counts. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for the super chat. I do appreciate it. So we do keep going, right? We do keep trying. And boy, can it be hard. Yes. Pickerbell says, public and forever mistakes. That is my nightmare. I have many of them, Pickerbell. I have many of them, which is why the funny part is once you get to a certain point, sometimes when I talk to the press, very often people see me, I act as a surrogate for certain people. And they go, Larry, why do you do that? How, you can make a mistake. I no longer care. The other day I was misquoted someplace and people were like, Larry, they misquoted you. Not the first or the last time. It's fine. What are you going to do? It happens. What are you going to do? It's just, you get to the point where it's like, whatever. There's nothing else I can do. It's fine. I can't go any further. It's done. I'm already screwed. So it doesn't matter, right? If somebody wants to find dirt on me, they can. There's no way around it. So I just keep talking. You'll get mad at me or you won't. You'll find, if you want to not like me, you can find a reason to not like me. I hope you want to like me. So maybe you'll ignore some of the stuff I said in the past. That is my hope. I hope you want to like me so you can forget about that. That is my goal. But one thing you will hear me also, in this case, I follow Bobby Kennedy completely. I tell the truth. Constantly. People who've been in my campaign, I tell them the same thing. I say, if we don't like something, We can say nothing. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the campaign saying nothing. And often you'll hear me. I will say nothing about something. That I'll say, but I will not lie. What you've never caught me doing ever, and I've done literally hundreds of events, live, unscripted. This is my 450 some odd show just for this show. I've done over 100 of my Libertarian Coffee Live. I've done what? How many of my I've done over 200 of my radio shows. I've done like 1,000 events. I've done like 500 events across New York State in the last 8 years, all live, all unscripted. You will never hear one thing from me, Peekabell. You'll never hear a lie. You'll never hear a lie. Because here's the issue. I can have you guys not like me. I can have you mad at me. I can have you think I'm wrong, utterly wrong. I can't have you not trust me. The second you don't trust me, we're lost. Right? We're lost. I can't have you not trust me. I can have you mad at me, think I'm wrong, 100%. But I can't have you not trust me. So I'd rather just say the truth or say nothing, either one, than lie. So of all the times you've seen me, with the 1,000 times I've been on this stuff, you've never heard me lie once. That's never happened, not one time. I'm sure I've said dumb things or been wrong. But no, never lied. Not a thing I do. And because I want you to trust me, even if you're mad at me or think I'm wrong. Trust is key. Guys, I'm going to ask you when it comes to trust, if you like what I'm saying, click the button that is like. It does matter. If you're watching on Twitter, please retweet this now. Repost it. Let people know it's going on. They can watch it later if they want to. If you have not already, if you're watching on YouTube and you have not subscribed, why not? Why do you hate me? I don't get it. I don't hate you. So please subscribe. If you really care, click that notification so you get the notification when I go live. I go live all the time. You can see me and talk to me. I try to talk to all of you whenever best I can. If you love me enough, follow what the other guys have been doing. Super chat me. You can super chat me on Larry Sharpe YouTube if you like. Become a member if you want to. All good. $49. Click join per month. I do more of this, less of my other consulting work because I'm here all the time. Not too shabby, right? I like that. I do appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Guys, I want to say thank you so much for giving me a chunk of your day. I will be on again tomorrow. I'm not sure what time, but I will be on again tomorrow. Grace was a very important point. After the show is over, if you want to help out that one guy who's, that guy who I love, actually I don't really love him, but I need him, that guy, his name is Al Gore Rhythm. That guy, he loves when you come back after the show and put a comment. Boy, does he love that. So if you want to, come on back afterwards. It's over. Put a comment and make that guy happy. I don't like him, but I need him. His name is Al Gore Rhythm. Do that if you would. Guys, thank you so much. I will be here sometime tomorrow. And again, Friday night, my Friday night show will be on. Sorry, not Friday night. Monday night show will be on this next Monday, the Sharpe Club. And my radio show, my call-in radio show will be on next Tuesday at 1 p.m. out of Rochester, New York. I will see you all very soon.